You know, there are some things that don't change. The Champs Elysees final stage, champagne, smiles, sprinters on rails, and the GC guys high-fiving like they just got through a summer camp. That's how the Tour de France used to end. A parade with pedals. Well, scratch that, because in a shocking plot twist that sounds like it was dreamed up by a sleep-deprived race organizer who binge-watched Survivor and the Hunger Games, ASO has added a narrow, cobbled Montmartre climb to the final stage of the Tour de France. And guess who's not amused? Jonas Vingegaard. Yep, a Tour de France winner. The human metronome, and the man whose heart rate hasn't spiked since 2018. He is deeply unimpressed, or to use his own words carefully, quote, "I think it will be dangerous." A bold emotional outburst from the normally stoic Dane. And just in case that quote didn't get across the full extent of his feelings, don't worry, he repeated it a lot, saying the word dangerous about 7 times in one small 3-minute interview. 1. What Jonas actually said. So what did Jonas say exactly in his post-training interview? Well, first of all, he's not furious, he's not even visibly annoyed, but if you listen closely, between the sighs and awkward pauses, you start to hear the sound of a man screaming internally. Quote, "I think it will be dangerous," he began. Okay, not too spicy, but then he followed up saying, quote, "I think it's a shame, and I think it could potentially be quite dangerous." There it is again, the Danish version of flipping a table, but he wasn't done. Quote, "I think on such a narrow road, it will make chaos." Chaos from Jonas. This is the same man who described the Col de Granon ambush as a good moment. For him to say chaos, that's code red. Quote, "Yeah, I think, as I said before, I think it will be dangerous, rather than, yeah." That sentence is the equivalent of Vingegaard slamming his coffee cup down and muttering something impolite in Danish. And then, when pressed about potential tactics for that final stage, he said this absolute jewel of speculative madness. Quote, "Yeah, but what would you do if, you never know?" He's talking about GC shake-ups on the final day. You know, the day that used to be sacred, celebratory, neutralized. Now it's turned into Mario Kart, with Montmartre as the Rainbow Road, and Jonas Vingegaard desperately trying not to get thrown into a Parisian flower bed. 2. The climb of chaos. Let's talk about this climb for a second. Montmartre, a lovely little hill in Paris. Tourists love it, artists love it, cyclists, well, after July, we're guessing they won't be sending it Valentine's cards. It's a 3.1 k's climb, averaging about 7%, and it's paved with quaint, charming, bone-rattling cobblestones. Think of it as the hill equivalent of a decorative cheese grater. Narrow? Very. Technical? Yes. Wide enough to comfortably fit more than 3 cyclists 3 abreast? Absolutely not. Jonas pointed out, and he's right, that this isn't the Olympics. During the 2024 games, riders also tackled Montmartre, but by the time they hit it, the peloton had thinned to a polite 50-person group, and even then it was tight. Now, imagine 150 riders, probably more, some of them with zero GC interest, some of them with only GC interest. Throw in 20 sprinters looking to grab KOM points as a joke. Maybe a few French wildcards gunning for glory. And oh yes, the guy in second place, who's 20 seconds down on yellow, thinking, well, what would you do if? Exactly. Vingegaard knows what that means. 3. Why Jonas is sweating a little. Jonas Vingegaard is not the kind of man to show nerves. He's the cool cucumber of pro cycling. You could throw him off a cliff and he'd still keep his FTP data tidy. But this time, he's concerned. And if Jonas is concerned, the rest of us should probably call emergency services. Because for Jonas, this isn't just a climb, it's a battlefield. He's built his Tour wins on control, boring attacks and catching his competitors off guard. UAE attacks, Visma locks it down. Repeat, there is no chaos in Jonas's world. There is only oxygen level monitoring and TT-style tempo destruction. But Montmartre doesn't care about your heart rate zones. Jonas said, quote, "I think on such a narrow road it will make chaos." He's picturing it now in his mind. A hairpin turn, 40 guys ahead, 60 behind, and a Lotto Destiny rider trying to bunny hop the sidewalk. 4. Training for a war zone. So what is Jonas Vingegaard doing to prepare? According to reports, he's been simulating narrow road positioning with Visma. Not exactly traditional training, gone at the 30-minute threshold intervals. In their place, repeated drills on alleyways the width of baguettes. His coach, grim-faced as ever, allegedly said, "We have reorientated training to focus on the high-pressure cornering dynamics of urban warfare. They've been measured the exact width of Montmartre cobbles and set up mock sprints through farm roads in Denmark. The goal? Learn how to survive with 12 elbows in your ribs and still hold 700 watts. And apparently, Jonas has done some visual recon too. He's reportedly rode the Montmartre, climbed 5 times in a row on recon day, and said in his typically explosive style, quote, "Yeah, it's going to be exciting for us, but not for you." Translation: viewers at home, enjoy the crashes. 5. Strategy and nightmares. Here's where it gets interesting. Jonas knows the climb is dangerous. He said it over and over again. "I think it will be dangerous. I think it's a shame. It could potentially be quite dangerous. As I said before, I think it will be dangerous." In fact, we're pretty sure his internal monologue just loops that phrase like a white noise machine. But here's the kicker. Jonas also knows it might be used against him. Let's play out the nightmare. You're Jonas Vingegaard, you're in yellow, and you survived the Alps, the Pyrenees, and maybe even a rainy time trial in Lyon. You have a 20-second lead on Tadej Pogačar, you roll into Paris expecting croissants and relaxation, and then Pogačar attacks on Montmartre like it's stage 5 of the Giro. Because let's be honest, if anyone's going to try it, it's of course Tadej. The man is attacked on a highway descent with a Gatorade bottle in his hand. And Jonas even acknowledged this, quote, if you were, let's say, 20 seconds behind in the GC in second place, I mean, you would use that to attack, wouldn't you? Yes, Jonas, yes you would. And he will. That's the danger. Not just the cobbles, not just the chaos, but the tactical insanity that will now define the final kilometres of the Tour de France. Leave your comments down below in the comment section on what you think about this. Jonas has made it clear. He knows there's going to be crashes and chaos, and he's training so that those crashes don't involve him. Give a like on today's video to show your support for the channel, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling drama and cycling results.